What is this HITRUST certification?
Sure. So, what a high trust certification provides organizations is with a level of transparency and comfort over security and privacy posture, right, that organizations have in place based off of a comprehensive framework that includes all the necessary and most common regulations, right, that we need to ensure compliance with, in addition to other standards that organizations should have in place relative to security and privacy, and allows them to provide those assurances to their stakeholders.
Um, what is the assurance process that vendors go through to become certified?
Sure. So the assurance process itself has multiple steps, and it all starts with a risk assessment. As we know, not all organizations are created equal relative to the amount of risk that they may introduce into, for example, physicians' practice to patients themselves. So it starts with undergoing a risk assessment process to understand what is the risk profile of that organization and the services that they are providing. And from there, it will dictate what level of assurance they should pursue and provide to their stakeholders in the form of a particular assessment and attestation.
Okay. Do these vendors have to update that certification after a period of time? And if so, how often?
Yeah, they actually do. It is dependent upon the nature of the assessment that they undergo. They do undergo what we refer to as a validated assessment or a certification. It requires an update annually. The certification itself is good for 2 years. However, every year they must provide status on their corrective action plans. So, if there were any gaps within the environment, they must also indicate whether there's been any significant changes within the environment of that particular third party relative to security and privacy.
Okay. How do physicians see if a company has this certification?
Sure. So there's multiple ways. You can ask the third party directly, of course, as to whether they have a certification or an attestation. We also offer a service that we refer to as the High Trust Assessment Exchange, that physician practices or what we call participating organizations can subscribe to and then submit all of their vendors or third parties to that exchange. And we will then return the results as to whether they have assessments in place and the details behind those assessments.
All right. How could this certification fit into a practice's risk management and compliance strategy?
Yeah. So when we think about risk management and compliance from a practice perspective, there's naturally a lot of things, right, that they need to take into consideration. I have an extreme passion in healthcare, and I always bring it back to the ultimate risk that we're focused on, which is the potential loss of human life. So understanding the risk profile of those third parties is critical to make sure they're not introducing risks that could potentially contribute to that. So what's important for them is also making sure they have enough time to focus on care delivery, right? The last thing that they really should be spending their time on is privacy and security related to business partners. So by leveraging assessments, it gives them that level of comfort that they need around security and privacy relative to those stakeholders, and allows them to focus more time on their day-to-day jobs, which is providing care.